Imagine taking a dangerous job working for a cursed, terrifying monster, only to realize you are the only thing keeping him sane. Marin was desperate for money, so she became a temporary aide to the Mad Duke of the West. He is a towering, broad-shouldered man who wears a black blindfold, suffering from a lethal curse that makes him dangerously volatile. But the moment she speaks, her voice completely soothes his agonizing pain. She planned to work for 6 months and run away, but the Duke has other plans. He refuses to lose his only source of relief. He traps her in a suffocating contract engagement, pulling her into a dangerously possessive romance where the blind Duke sees only her. This is engaged to the blind Duke. In a grand, dimly lit room, Gerald asks Marine Spins how she finds life in the ducal castle. A genuine smile lights up her face as she tells him how comfortable she is, thanking him for his care. He leans in slightly, asking if that means she likes living there. Marine beams, exclaiming that she loves it. Her mind fills with images of a warm bed, plentiful food, and generous pay. Hearing her enthusiastic reply, a knowing smirk touches Gerald's lips. "Really?" he murmurs, his voice low. "If you like it that much." Gerald's voice drops, a low and possessive murmur that sends a shiver through the room. "Then be engaged to me." The words hang in the air, shattering the warmth between them. Marine's eyes widen in disbelief, her heart pounding against her ribs. She stammers, asking him to repeat himself, certain she misheard. He leans back, utterly calm. "I said, you should be engaged to me." Panicked, Marine jumps up, nervously trying to excuse herself. But his sharp no cuts through her excuses, forcing her back into her seat. The air thickens with unspoken tension. Marine forces a nervous laugh, trying to return to her duties. "Which report would you like me to read?" But Gerald cuts through the pretense, his voice sharp. "What is it that you want?" Her breath catches in her throat. "What? I want Lady Marin Schventz." He says her full name, and she visibly flinches. A confident smirk plays on his lips. He reveals he knows her secret, that she, a noble, hid her identity to work there. "Didn't you do that because you wanted something?" A quiet hiccup escapes her as his final question lands. "Did you think you could deceive this family so easily?" Marine's blood runs cold. Her hands fly to her mouth as a wave of panic washes over her, her eyes wide with disbelief. He knew. She thought she had fooled them perfectly, but he knew all along. While she mentally unravels, Gerald sits across from her, the picture of calm control with his hands neatly clasped. The carefully constructed walls around her secret crumble to dust. A frantic, scribbled thought races through her mind, settling on one single, terrifying realization. She is utterly finished. Marine brings a warm breakfast to her ailing mother, her smile trying to mask her concern. When her mother gently refuses the meal, claiming she has no appetite, a deep fear settles in Marine's heart. She worries her mother won't survive the winter if she continues to skip meals. Trying a new approach, she offers to read aloud, reminding her that her voice helps her sleep. A soft, tired smile is her reward. But their quiet moment is shattered by a loud, insistent pounding on the door, startling them both. Marine rushes to see who it is. Marine opens the door to find her landlord, Zorno, standing on her stoop with a smug grin. Her expression turns wary as she asks what brings him here. He dismisses her cold tone, suggesting she already knows. When she tries to shut the door, he slams his hand against the frame, blocking her path. His voice is low and firm as he announces that her rent is tripling, starting immediately. Panic seizes Marine. She breathlessly asks where she's supposed to get that kind of money, her voice cracking as she pleads for more time. Zorno's smile turns into a leering grin as he leans in, suggesting there's another way for her to pay. His hand reaches toward her, but before he can make contact, a firm shove sends him stumbling back. The door slams shut in his face. His furious shouts and pounding fists echo from the other side. He bellows insults and threatens that if she doesn't have the money next time, they will be thrown out immediately. Inside, Marine stands frozen, listening until his angry footsteps fade away. A cold dread settles in her heart. With winter approaching, she can't let her sick mother be left with nowhere to go. A steely resolve replaces her fear. She walks to her room and whispers to the empty space, "I need money." With her mind made up, Marine slides open a drawer, feeling she has no choice left. She pulls out a piece of paper, her lime green eyes hardening with resolve. on it is a title only she recognizes. In her past life, she read many novels, but chose this one because it was new and refreshing. Now, she lives inside that very story. She knows she isn't the main character, but she holds a unique advantage. She knows the male lead, the Western Duke, exists in this world. Marine recalls the novel's grand romance. The Western Duke, blinded after a monster attack, is saved by a brilliant herbalist who restores his sight. They are destined to fall in love. In that story, she is merely an extra, a background character meant to watch their happy ending unfold. But that simple plan is no longer possible. Her hands press firmly onto a stack of papers as a quiet desperation fills the room. "I need money," she whispers. Her family, the once wealthy Schwintz, was left in ruins after a tragic carriage accident claimed her father and brother. The shock of her new life is immediately overshadowed by a crushing reality. Her father's hidden, enormous debts. Poverty crashes down, and after selling everything, the only thing Marine has left is a vanity her father gifted her. She has struggled to ignore the novel's plot, but as a fallen Viscount's daughter, she has reached her limit. Her reflection stares back, lime green eyes gleaming with newfound resolve. It's time to use the only weapons she possesses, the knowledge and abilities carried over from her past life. Marine Spin sits rigidly in an opulent room, her fingers nervously twisting the fabric of her dress. A calm voice cuts through the tense silence, calling her name. She looks up, startled, to see the Duke's aide, Olive, holding a paper she has written. He offers a small, reassuring smile and compliments her neat handwriting. Relief washes over Marine as she stammers a quiet thank you. Her mind races, feeling as though she's living inside a novel. She can hardly believe she is truly here, face to face with the famous Olive Ryan. Olive smiles, finding it unique that Marine is literate, and asks where she learned to read and write. A wave of nervous heat rushes through Marine. Her heart hammers against her ribs. She gives her practiced answer, explaining that the young master at her previous job taught her. She confesses she rereads the few books she owns, as new ones are too expensive. Internally, she worries her story sounds suspicious, especially since most noble ladies cultivate refinement through art and music, not by learning to read and write. Marine's thoughts drift to the real reason she can read. It was her most beloved hobby, even in her past life. She remembers the joy of begging her father to teach her and the precious, happy moments spent alone with her books. The warmth of the memory fades as Olive gently taps the paper in front of him. He explains, his tone polite but firm, that while he is looking for an assistant, he was specifically expecting a boy. He was told a Marion would be coming, so he is quite taken aback that a woman has arrived. Marine's heart sinks, her hope evaporating. She remains silent, knowing this desperate measure was her only way in. Sweat beads on Marine's temple. She knew disguising herself was impossible and had to come as she was. She quickly explains that her brother, Marion, left for the capital, and she took his place, desperate for the opportunity. Olive calmly dismisses her claim, stating the duchy already has enough female staff and that he lacks the authority to hire her. As he begins to end the interview, Marine leaps to her feet, her voice trembling. "I will be necessary." Taken aback, Olive asks, "For me?" "No," she insists, her gaze unwavering. "For his grace, the Duke." A cold look settles on Olive's face as he asks what she means. Unflinching, Marine explains that the Duke's unfortunate accident is common knowledge in the Western region. Olive's patience snaps. He demands to know if she realizes what she's saying and tells her to leave immediately. Refusing to be dismissed, an idea flashes in Marine's mind. She moves swiftly, snatching a book from a nearby table. Olive jumps to his feet in shock. "Miss Marin, what do you think you're doing?" A confident smile plays on her lips as she prepares to prove her worth. With the book open in her hands, Marine's voice fills the opulent room. Her tone is clear and melodic as she reads about scholarly theories on demonic beasts. A soft, golden light seems to emanate from her, bathing the scene in a warm glow. Olive stands completely still, his eyes wide and his mouth slightly parted in disbelief. He is utterly captivated, lost in the sound. She pauses her reading, her gaze steady. "Shall I continue?" she asks. Marine explains that since the Duke is unable to read documents himself, she can be his eyes. Olive remains speechless, stunned by her demonstration. Confidence radiates from Marine as she explains that a blind Duke surely needs someone to read reports aloud. With her unique skills, she is certain she can be of service. Convinced, Olive gestures for her to take a seat. The initial tension in the room softens, but only for a moment. He explains that while he can hire a simple assistant, he lacks the authority to appoint someone for a role so close to the Duke. Marine's hopeful expression falters as despair washes over her. Just as she thinks it's over, Olive's voice cuts in, remarking on how remarkably well she reads. Olive admits he's never seen a talent quite like hers, confessing that reading to the Duke has been a constant worry. A soft blush warms Marine's cheeks as he says she might be the very solution to his problem. Hope glimmers in her lime green eyes. Does that perhaps mean? She asks breathlessly. With a wide, reassuring smile, Olive confirms and suggests they go see His Grace immediately. He leads her down a long, cavernous hall. The air grows heavy, the only light filtering from distant windows, casting deep shadows. Marine's heart pounds. It's so dark she can barely see. The hallway swallows the light, feeling more like a cave than a corridor. Olive pauses, his face illuminated by the single candle he carries. He explains that His Grace, the Duke, is sensitive to light and that there are things she must be careful about if she is to serve him. Marine nods meekly, her heart quickening. They arrive before a set of towering doors. Olive raises a gloved hand and knocks firmly, the sound echoing in the silence. From the immense, shadowy room beyond, a deep, commanding voice gives a simple reply. Come in. As the heavy doors part, Marine steps into a vast, shadowy study. Her gaze falls upon a solitary figure seated behind a grand desk, a man with messy black hair and a stark black blindfold concealing his eyes. Her breath catches. A sudden, impossible realization crashes over her. She knows him. He is the male lead from the story, the man known as Duke Gerald. The air in the room grows thick and heavy, and her heart hammers against her ribs as she stares at the imposing, blindfolded Duke before her. In a grand, dimly lit office, Olive approaches Duke Gerald, who sits at his desk, a black blindfold concealing his eyes. Olive explains he needs the Duke's permission to hire someone. From a distance, Marine Spins watches nervously. Gerald dismisses the request, questioning when he started concerning himself with every servant. But Olive insists this case is special, believing it would be good to keep her by the Duke's side. Unimpressed, Gerald scoffs that he has met every doctor in the Empire. She is not a doctor, Olive clarifies, but she will surely be of help. He then prompts Marine to begin. Clutching the report Olive hands her, Marine Spins takes a deep, steadying breath. Her vibrant lime green eyes narrow with resolve. This is her only chance. I must do it, she thinks, her determination solidifying into a powerful calm. Her clear voice cuts through the tense silence of the office, reading from the urgent report. An urgent report regarding the silver mine discovered in the Niron territory. At his desk, Duke Gerald flinches, his hand pausing mid-motion. He leans forward slightly, captivated as her voice continues, explaining the mine's failure. A jolt of recognition flashes through Marine Spins, her lime green eyes widening. This silver mine, it's a major plot point from the original novel. A memory rushes back to her, the heroine visiting the abandoned mine, stumbling upon a mysterious, shimmering mineral. The stone, crafted into a stunning necklace, captivated high society. She remembers the truth now. It was never a silver mine, but a discovery of a completely new, priceless gemstone called opal. A sharp pang of regret hits Marine. If only she had remembered sooner, she could have made a fortune. What a waste. Marine Spins mutters under her breath, lost in thought. A deep voice cuts through the silence right beside her. What is? She flinches. Duke Gerald now stands impossibly close, his presence radiating an intense warmth that makes her heart pound. When did he get here? She thinks frantically. He leans in slightly, his voice a low murmur as he presses his question again. Stumbling over her words, Marine tries to answer, but the pressure is too much. She takes a hasty step back, but her heel catches and she loses her balance, a startled gasp escaping her lips as she tumbles backward. A strong hand snatches her wrist, pulling her from the fall in a swift, fluid motion. The world dissolves into a warm, golden haze as Duke Gerald steadies her against him. Surrounded by phantom flowers, Marine Spence looks up, her heart hammering as she whispers her thanks. His proximity is dizzying, and a thought flashes through her mind. He's incredibly handsome. The illusion shatters, leaving them back in the quiet room. His grip remains firm as he calls out a single name into the tense air. Olive. A flash of purple energy flickers through Gerald's mind as Marine trembles, a terrified cry of monsters escaping her lips. He repeats her word, his voice a low question. Monster? Olive steps forward, explaining that tunnel monsters are drawn to shiny minerals. Relieved, Marine adds she was speculating about other gems, a flimsy excuse she barely managed. Ignoring the explanation, Gerald's grip tightens on her wrist. He demands her name. Marin, she stammers. He asks if she is a commoner and ignores her quiet plea to be released, his suspicion growing. A spy, then. Marine's denial is frantic, her heart pounding against his unyielding grip. She insists she's not a spy. He ignores her plea, a silent moment stretching between them before he finally lets go. With a low voice, he orders Olive to prepare a temporary employment contract. A wave of golden relief washes over Marine, and she glows with gratitude. Just as she sways from exhaustion, his voice cuts through the air again. And, feed her. Olive startles. Her wrist is like a twig, Gerald states, his focus unervingly absolute. Marine can only stare, stunned. A soft blush warms Marine's cheeks. Her wrist isn't thin, she thinks to herself, his hands are just large. Later, alone in his study, Gerald runs a hand over his blindfolded eyes, reflecting on the encounter. He finds her a curious woman. A memory of her reading a report surfaces. He realizes her voice wasn't grating at all. It was clear, allowing him to think. Now he understands Olive's earnestness. It is a secret of the Vine's duchy, a hereditary power granting the firstborn son superhuman senses, eyes that see a bird's color and ears that hear every sound within 50 meters. The power of the Vine's duchy is legendary, granting its heirs senses that exceed human limits. Gerald possesses the most exceptional gifts of all. But a year ago, a devastating encounter with a monster took his sight. In the darkness that followed, his other senses sharpened into a curse. The slightest noise, even an insect crawling, crashes into his mind like thunder. Standing alone in his study, a profound realization dawns on him. He touches his chin, his posture still. For the very first time, he understands. Someone's voice has not tormented him. A memory of Marine fills Gerald's mind. He recalls her hand pressed to her chest, the frantic rhythm of her heart that his enhanced senses picked up so clearly. He knows she was afraid of him, her pulse racing with tension, and yet she lied. He wonders what reason she could have for such a deception. A decision settles in his mind. "Kay," he calls into the shadows. A cloaked figure appears in an instant, kneeling silently. With a chilling stillness, Gerald gives a single command to the loyal subordinate. "Investigate." Marine's eyes widen as she stares at the contract in her hands. 1 gold for a weekly wage? The amount is staggering, enough to cover an entire month's living expenses. This is a dream job. She sits across from Olive, who explains that her temporary position is specialized, which is why the pay is so high. The word specialized gives Marine pause. Dark, sparkling images flash through her mind. A spy, the Duke's shadow, a blacksmith, an alchemist. All specialized roles from the original story. Shaking off her apprehension, she leans forward and asks if the pay increases for a full-time employee. Olive's smile is blindingly bright. "Of course," he confirms, encouraging her to aim for the permanent position. Eagerly, Marine asks where she needs to sign, ready to begin. As Marine eagerly signs the document, Olive gently suggests she should read it properly first. She waves off his concern, confidently stating that the prestigious ducal house would never scam her. Olive then pushes a beautifully bound book toward her. "You mentioned you like reading," he says, offering it as a gift. Marine's eyes widen in disbelief. It's the exact book she read for her interview. Hesitantly, she asks if she can really accept something so expensive. Olive casually mentions they were just going to throw it out. A brilliant smile spreads across Marine's face. "Then please, throw it away to me," she beams, clutching what feels like her new lucky charm. Marine arrives home late in the evening, calling out to her mother. Her mother, resting in bed, welcomes her back with a warm smile. Noticing her mother has skipped her meal again, Marine proudly presents a large basket she brought. She pulls back the cloth to reveal an overflowing feast of fresh bread, pastries, and fruits. Doesn't it all look delicious? Marine asks, beaming with pride. Her mother's expression shifts from shock to concern. What is all this? She asks, her voice trembling as she fears Marine has taken on more debt for her sake. No, that's not it, Marine quickly reassures her. With a hopeful smile, Marine announces she secured a job at the ducal castle. Her mother's worry shifts to disbelief, asking if it's the renowned Vine's ducal house. At Marine's confirmation, pure relief washes over the older woman, who clasps her hands in prayer, tears of gratitude in her eyes. The peaceful moment shatters when Marine casually adds that she told the Duke she was a commoner. Her mother's joy evaporates, replaced by shock. Marine calmly explains that as a noble, she would have been dismissed as another young lady with impure intentions. Marine explains that with Duke Gerald's handsome face, she understands why he would be fed up with the endless attention from other women. She offers her mother a reassuring smile, promising she will quit as soon as she has saved enough money. A soft warmth fills the room as her mother accepts her words, placing her faith in her daughter. Marine's thoughts drift to the story she knows. When the Duke meets the true female lead, he will regain his sight, and she will no longer be needed. A perfect, clean exit. Marine clenches her fist, setting her goal. She will hold out for exactly 6 months. Her resolve crumbles when Olive informs her she should return home for the day. Shock ripples through her. When he adds that she won't be needed tomorrow or the day after, her mind jumps to the worst conclusion. Am I fired? She whispers in horror. Panic overtakes her, and she grabs Olive's vest, her voice rising with desperation. You can't just throw me out after one day. As Olive tries to calm her, a quiet, firm voice interrupts them. Both of you. The deep voice commands them to come in. Marine's heart sinks. She didn't realize Duke Gerald was in the room. Inside the dimly lit study, Gerald stands by his desk, his hand resting on a cloth marked with a dark stain. A sudden, coppery scent hangs in the air, and Marine freezes. Her eyes widen as she recognizes the faint smell of blood. The warmth of the room turns into a suffocating heat as the scent triggers a chilling, familiar memory she can't quite place, stirring a sense of unease. Flashes of a fiery carriage accident sear through Marine's mind. The screams of horses, the stark image of blood. Her breath catches in her throat. She clutches her dress, fighting to stay composed. The heat in the room feels suffocating. Why are you so eager to meet your end? Gerald's voice is a low, chilling hum that slices through her panic. Marine flinches, stammering that it was a misunderstanding. Olive quickly steps in, explaining to Gerald that he tried to send her away because of the Duke's condition, and Marine thought she was fired. Realization dawns on Gerald. Mortified, Marine bows her head, whispering an apology. It dawns on Marine that the metallic scent in the air is from Gerald's injury. Olive's voice is tight with worry as he asks if the Duke will be all right without treatment. Stop babbling and leave, Gerald commands sharply. After Olive hands Marine a document and exits, she takes several deliberate steps back. The space between them feels electric. His presence is a warmth that's almost suffocating, and her heart beats a frantic rhythm against her ribs. She nervously announces that she'll begin reading from her current spot, seeking his silent permission. With a nervous swallow, Marine asks if she can read from her current spot. Before she can take another breath, a hand darts out and clasps her wrist. She gasps, stumbling forward as he pulls her off balance, bringing her directly before him. The air crackles with a sudden heat. No. Gerald's voice is a low murmur that sends a shiver down her spine. With a final, gentle tug, he commands, "Come closer." Her eyes are wide with shock, a faint blush warming her cheeks as the space between them vanishes. As Marine reads by his side, bathed in a warm, golden glow, Gerald suddenly grabs her arm. Her lime green eyes widen in surprise as he speaks, his voice a low command. He tells her not to move away, but to come closer. Before she can process his words, Gerald pulls her forward with unexpected force. Marine lets out a startled cry, stumbling towards him as the book nearly slips from her grasp. Her hand flies to her mouth, her mind reeling from his sudden, possessive action. The air crackles with unspoken tension as Gerald holds Marine close. His voice is a low, intense query as he asks why she deliberately suppressed her startled cry. Flustered, Marine explains she thought a loud noise would be annoying. He counters, noting that making a sound when surprised is a natural reaction. Her heart hammers. She knows she must choose her words with care. She finally explains that since he relies less on sight, she assumed he was more sensitive to sound, and offers a quiet apology, her lime green eyes wide with apprehension. Gerald remains perfectly still, his expression hidden. Internally, he compliments her sharp analytical skills, then offers a simple, "Thank you." A wave of relief washes over Marine as she curtsies, believing she has navigated the tense moment. Just then, morning arrives as a brilliant sliver of sunlight cuts through a gap in the curtains. Marine shields her sensitive eyes from the sudden glare. The light also strikes Gerald, causing him to flinch as if burned. As his head turns, Marine's gaze catches on his ear, and her breath hitches. Her eyes widen in horror at the sight of a dark crimson trail. Marine's breath catches in her throat. With a trembling voice, she points to the dark crimson staining his ear. Gerald remains completely still, his tone flat as he dismisses it as nothing. A wave of panic washes over Marine. She insists he must get it treated immediately, but he calmly states that such a wound will heal in a day. Her mind flashes to Olive, imagining he would scold the Duke for his carelessness. Just as she notes their similar nagging, Gerald quietly reveals he already knows the cause, leaving her staring, her worry now mixed with confusion. Gerald answers with unnerving calm, admitting he was the one who inflicted the wound. Marine's eyes widen in disbelief, her voice trembling as she asks who could have done such a thing. "I did," he states flatly, the two words striking her with the force of a physical blow. A cold dread washes over her as her mind spirals. Was her voice so painful that he had to choose this pain to stop the sound? She imagines his agony, the sheer desperation behind the act. The terrible realization dawns on her, heavy and sharp. She had been so wrong. A wave of shame crashes over Marine. Gerald isn't just a character whose story she read. He's a real person, and she treated his suffering as mere information. The terrifying reality of his pain, of his world suddenly plunging into darkness, hits her with full force. A single tear escapes and slides down her cheek. "Why?" she whispers, her voice thick with emotion. Confused by her sudden sorrow, Gerald asks what she means. He takes a step closer, his commanding presence softening as he sees her distress. "Why are you crying?" he asks, his voice quiet. The heavy moment is broken as Olive steps into the room, holding a stack of documents. He explains there are more reports that need checking and hands the thick bundle to Marine. She accepts them with a quiet, "Yes, aid," her mind resolving to push everything else aside. First, she must focus on her work. The atmosphere in the study grows warm as she begins to read aloud. A soft, golden light seems to emanate from the pages, her voice filling the silent space. Gerald stands perfectly still, his attention fixed completely on her sound. Marine finishes the last report, announcing that she is done. With a polite smile, she wishes him a good rest and turns to leave. Before she can take a step, Gerald's voice stops her. "Wait." His hand swiftly closes around her wrist, his firm grip startling her. He holds her in place, his fingers easily circling the delicate bone. Marine freezes, flustered, as he comments on its twig-like thinness. He then gives her a command. She is to put on more weight, and he will be the one to check. The question, "understood?" hangs in the air, leaving her speechless. Without another word, Marine turns and flees the study, the heavy doors closing behind her with a definitive click. Left alone in the warm, quiet room, Gerald crosses his arms, his mind consumed by her. He thinks she is a peculiar woman. Though she clearly fears him, he can't forget the way she cried when he was injured. His own investigation laid her life bare, a viscount's daughter ruined by tragedy, now living in poverty. Unmarried, no dowry. He wonders why a woman with no secrets holds such a grip on his thoughts. Gerald mulls over her actions. She fears him, yet she came to him. He realizes he can't predict her at all, and knows such variables are dangerous. Meanwhile, back in her own room, Marine looks down at her arm, a blush warming her cheeks as she wonders if his comment was true. But in the Duke's study, a slow, dangerous smirk curls Gerald's lips. He rests his chin on his hand, a soft sound of amusement escaping him. He He finds this unpredictable woman utterly fascinating. The risk she presents only draws him in more. Olive leads Marine into a spacious, sunlit office. Her lime green eyes widen, and she marvels at how grand it is. He explains this will be her workspace, gesturing to a gorgeous desk reserved just for her. A thrill of excitement makes Marine's heart flutter as she touches the smooth surface, a small smile on her lips. Suddenly, her expression shifts to one of concern. But Aid. She begins tentatively, asking if it's really okay to just leave Duke Gerald alone after his injury. Olive's face grows serious as he looks down, admitting, "That's what worries me as well." Olive's expression turns grave. He explains that he wishes Duke Gerald would get treatment, but his Grace hates having anything touch his body. Marine worries that the injury will only get worse if left alone. Olive agrees, adding that since the Duke already suffers from sleeplessness, his recovery will be even slower. The revelation stops Marine in her tracks. He can't sleep? Her mind races. An idea sparks within her, a memory of her mother. What about giving him warm wine? She suggests, a hopeful energy returning to her voice. My mother always drank that. Olive looks at her, a glimmer of curiosity in his eyes. Marine offers a warm smile, encouraging Olive to speak comfortably with her because she's a commoner. He looks down at her and replies that he already is, then suggests she simply call him by his name. Yes, Lord Olive, she chirps back, her energy infectious. With that settled, Olive beams, hoisting a mountain of paperwork into his arms. Shall we get started? He asks cheerfully. The sheer volume of documents freezes Marine in place, her initial excitement souring into dread. The scene then plunges into a dark, tormented space where Gerald suffers, his thoughts a desperate whisper. I'm fading. Marine stares at the mountain of documents, overwhelmed, when Olive sets down a plate of beautiful pastries. He smiles, telling her she must be hungry and should eat while she works. As she thanks him, Olive reveals a surprising detail. Duke Gerald himself ordered them to fatten her up. A jolt runs through Marine as she remembers Gerald checking her slender wrist. A blush warms her cheeks as she takes a hesitant bite of cake. Her eyes widen in delight. It's delicious, she murmurs, asking if she might save a piece that reminds her of her mother. Olive turns to leave, apologizing for asking another favor as he promises to inform the kitchen about her request. Just then, a sharp knock echoes through the library. An older, distinguished man in a pristine butler's uniform clears his throat in the doorway. Please come in, Marine says politely. The man, whom Olive greets as Sebastian, steps inside. His stern expression softens into a gentle, warm smile that reaches his eyes. Olive asks him if the wedding went well, remarking how profound it must feel to see his grandson married. Sebastian's smile widens as he agrees. Indeed, time really does fly. A flicker of recognition crosses Marine's mind as she recalls hearing the name Sebastian before. He was the former vice captain of the Night Order. Olive asks the distinguished butler what brings him here. Sebastian explains he wishes to offer his thanks to the Duke, but Olive regretfully informs him that it will be difficult today. Disappointment clouds Sebastian's expression. As Marine watches, Olive formally introduces her as his assistant. She stands quickly, offering a polite greeting. Olive then finishes, Miss Marine, this is Butler Sebastian Chun, confirming her suspicions and leaving her stunned. Sebastian places a hand over his heart, politely asking Marine to call him Seabass. Olive proudly informs him that Marine's reporting skills are exceptional, noting even Duke Gerald was satisfied. Sebastian's eyes widen. He strides forward and takes Marine's hands in his own, his gaze intense. He exclaims that for the Duke to acknowledge her, she must be incredible, and passionately offers his help with anything she might need. Overwhelmed, Marine stammers a quiet thank you, a nervous sweat drop forming on her brow as she worries about her secrets. A cold unease settles over Marine as she imagines the reaction of the Duke's followers should her secret be exposed. Later that night, the moon hangs high over the grand estate. Inside, Gerald sits alone, shrouded in the tense quiet of his sleeplessness. His aide, Olive, enters the study, his voice laced with concern as he insists Gerald must rest. He presents a bottle of wine, but Gerald is cynical that it could offer any peace. The atmosphere in the room shifts, the air growing warmer, when Olive quietly reveals that it was Miss Marine who recommended it. Olive explains that Miss Marine suggested warming the wine, a remedy her mother used for sleepless nights. Gerald holds the glass, a hint of curiosity in his posture. As the steam rises, Olive continues, his tone thoughtful. He brings up his observations about Marine, her ability to read, her casual mention of wine, the refined way she holds a teacup. All these small details, he concludes, suggest she is not a commoner. A faint, knowing smile touches Gerald's lips as he holds the glass. He calmly reveals her secret. She's the daughter of a ruined Viscount family. Olive's expression softens with pity as he speculates on Marine's desperation, concluding money must be her goal. He sadly notes that her circumstances must be dire for her to falsify her resume. As Gerald lifts the warm glass, his mind turns inward. A woman who wins everyone's favor, he thinks, could be the perfect infiltrator. A slow, intrigued smile plays on his lips as he takes a thoughtful sip. The pleasant warmth spreads through him, a welcome sensation in the quiet room. It's been a while, he murmurs, but this wine isn't bad. Walking through a sun-dappled forest with a basket in hand, Marine smiles warmly. She feels immense gratitude that Olive arranged this schedule for her. More than anything, she's relieved her mother's appetite has returned. She clutches the basket, determined to provide hearty, nutritious meals and work even harder. As she nears her house, she freezes. The cheerful atmosphere dissolves into a cold dread. Her eyes widen in disbelief and confusion. The door. She thinks, why is it open? A chill runs down her spine as the basket slips from her grasp, falling to the ground. A panicked cry for her mother escapes Marine's lips as she bursts through the doorway. Her heart plummets. The house is in complete disarray. Furniture is overturned and belongings are smashed across the floor. What is all this? She thinks, her eyes wide with shock. A faint, weak voice calls her name from another room, sending a fresh wave of terror through her. Mom, she yells, running towards the sound. She finds her mother kneeling by a vanity, looking frail and defeated as she whispers Marine's name one more time. Marine kneels, demanding to know who could have done this. Her mother explains that the landlord's wife visited, consumed by a misunderstanding that Marine was involved with her husband. In a jealous rage, she trashed their home, leaving an ultimatum: pay the rent by tomorrow or be forced out. I'm so sorry, her mother whispers, admitting she could only protect the vanity. Marine shakes her head, her own expression hardening with guilt. No, Mom, all of this is my fault. A heavy regret settles in her heart. She realizes she should have addressed the landlord's unwanted attention sooner. With newfound determination hardening her gaze, Marine announces her decision to her mother. She is going to the Duke's castle. Later that night, she stands alone in the vast, moonlit courtyard of the imposing estate. Is anyone here? She calls out, her voice cutting through the silence. Two guards emerge from the shadows, their expressions stern. Who are you? One demands. Marine looks up, unafraid. She introduces herself as an employee working for advisor Olive and insists she must see him urgently, her plea hanging in the cool night air. The guard eyes Marine with suspicion, unconvinced by her claim to work for the advisor. I've never seen you before, he says, his voice laced with doubt. He turns to his red-haired companion, Yubis, and asks if he knows her. Yubis simply offers a flat, no, I don't. As the first guard's frustration mounts, Yubis grabs his arm and pulls him away. A more senior guard then steps forward, apologizing for the youth's behavior. He calmly informs Marine that they must first verify her identity before she can proceed any further. Finally inside, Marine waits in a lavishly decorated room, the luxurious surroundings a stark contrast to her anxious state. A door creaks open, revealing Olive, who looks concerned as he approaches. He asks what urgent matter brought her here so late. Marine stands, her hands twisting together in front of her. She bows her head slightly, finding it difficult to meet his gaze. Taking a deep breath, she explains that while she knows it's an unusual request after only one day, she desperately needs an advance on her weekly pay. Marine's voice trembles as she explains her desperate plight. Her family faces eviction by morning, and her mother is too ill to be without a home. Overwhelmed, she bows deeply, apologizing for her audacity. Olive, visibly distressed, urges her to stand. He expresses his regret, explaining that only Duke Gerald has the authority to approve her request. With a serious expression, Olive decides he must consult his master. He leads a nervous Marine down a grand hall to an imposing door, announcing his need to discuss her. A deep voice commands from within, "Come." As Olive prepares to enter, he turns to Marine, asking her to come in with him. Her eyes widen in surprise. Olive quickly clarifies that the Duke only called for her, leaving her to face him alone. Her heart pounds as the heavy door creaks open, revealing a room cloaked in shadow. Holding a candle high, she steps inside. Duke Gerald sits at a table, his shirt unlaced. "What is it?" he asks. Swallowing her fear, Marine makes her desperate request for an advance. He pauses, his head tilted. "And why should I grant you that?" The air grows thick with tension. Gerald's voice is a low, dangerous whisper as he asks what Marine will do for him in return. Her heart hammers in her chest, panic seizing her. She has nothing of value to offer a Duke. Her desperate eyes land on the wine bottle, and she remembers Olive's concerns about Gerald's insomnia. A flicker of an idea turns into resolve. "I can help you sleep," she declares. Taken aback, he asks what she means. Marine explains that her mother always said she sleeps well when she reads to her. Gerald's voice is low as he questions how she knew of his sleepless nights, immediately suspecting his aid. Holding the candlelight steady, Marine quickly confirms Olive told her, assuring him the man meant no harm. A tense silence hangs between them before Gerald gives a single, unexpected response. "Fine." Marine's breath hitches, her lime green eyes widening in disbelief. A soft "huh" escapes her lips. He rises from his desk, the shadows framing his tall, imposing figure. "Let's sleep," he commands, his simple words sending a strange warmth through her. A soft smile touches Gerald's lips as he leans back. "Good," he murmurs, his voice low and intimate. "Let's sleep." The simple suggestion sends a wave of heat rushing to Marine's cheeks. Her heart stumbles, and she clutches the candlestick tighter, her eyes wide with surprise. Breaking the sudden tension, Gerald asks how long her journey home takes. "About an hour," she replies, confused. "We will have to relocate you," he declares, his tone leaving no room for argument. He calls for Olive, who appears in the doorway. "Move her to the annex tomorrow." Gerald immediately instructs Olive to process a cash advance. Overwhelmed, Marine stands frozen, candlestick in hand. She only asked for a small favor, but suddenly her housing and money troubles have vanished. A warm, golden light seems to surround her as profound gratitude washes over her. "Thank you so much," she whispers, her voice filled with genuine emotion. After Olive escorts her from the room, Gerald leans back in his grand chair, alone in the quiet. He muses on her simple intention to read him to sleep, wondering what could possibly be going on inside her head. Alone in the dark, Gerald's fingers graze the collar of his shirt. A slow smirk spreads across his face as he considers his new arrangement. With Marine moving into his castle, he thinks he will soon understand everything about her. Miles away, Marine arrives at her humble home under a brilliant night sky. She gently strokes the horse's muzzle, thanking the creature for the safe journey. Her mother appears in the doorway, worried about the late hour and the unfamiliar animal. After explaining the horse is alone, a bright, joyous smile transforms Marine's face. "Mom," she says, her voice full of relief, "we're moving." Her mother panics, wondering where they could possibly go, insisting she will manage somehow. Marine firmly grabs her mother's hands, a warm, golden light blooming around them. She explains that Duke Gerald has offered them a place in the employee annex so they can live together. A carriage, she adds with a beaming smile, will arrive for them tomorrow. Tears well in her mother's eyes as she asks if it's really true. Overwhelmed with gratitude, she can hardly believe the Duke's kindness. Seeing her mother smile so brightly fills Marine with profound peace. A bird chirps impatiently on a sunlit branch before taking flight. On a path below, a woman shouts at her male companion for being too slow, demanding to know when they will collect the rent money. He sighs, reminding her of the family's dire situation and the unlikelihood of getting paid. Her face twists in a snarl. She isn't going for money. She's going to drag the girl by her hair. Her anger finally explodes as she grabs him by the collar, accusing him of causing this mess because of his affair. He recoils, stammering that it's all a misunderstanding. The man's desperate denial cuts short as his eyes widen. "Honey, look over there," he stammers, pointing down the path. Marine stands waiting for them, her arms crossed and her expression resolute. A cruel smirk spreads across the woman's face. She scoffs, believing Marine is simply waiting to be put in her place. The couple closes the distance, striding purposefully toward her. Stopping just inches away, the woman looks down at Marine with disdain. "The money is ready, I assume," she demands. Marine stares back, her gaze steady and unwavering. Marine drops a heavy pouch of coins onto the dusty path. The woman's eyes widen in shock and greed. "Oh my, where did you get this huge amount of money?" she exclaims. Her husband nervously insists it doesn't matter, but the woman's face twists into a cruel smirk. She leans in, her voice dripping with venom, suggesting the source is obvious. A sharp sound cracks through the air. Marine's hand connects with the woman's face, sending her stumbling back. "Are you crazy?" the woman shrieks, clutching her stinging cheek. Marine stands resolute, her expression icy. "How dare you lay a hand on my mother?" A boy screams, stepping between them. In a flash, Marine moves past him, sending the boy stumbling. Her cold gaze remains fixed on the woman as she reveals she knows about the husband's secret affair with a woman named Wendy. Chaos erupts. The couple turns on each other in a storm of accusations and denials, their argument escalating into a physical scuffle. Shoving his wife away, the man's face twists with rage. He points a trembling finger at Marine, his voice a roar. "This is all because of you." A firm, white-gloved hand suddenly clamps down on the man's wrist, stopping his tirade. Marine looks up to see an impeccably dressed butler with silver hair, his expression stern. He observes the scene, remarking that this is clearly more than a simple lover's quarrel. The bickering couple freezes, stammering in fear at the unexpected intrusion. With surprising strength, the butler shoves the man down. He then turns his calm, composed gaze toward Marine. Behind him, a magnificent carriage gleams. Placing a hand over his chest, the butler announces he has come to pick her up. Marine stares, her mind racing. She expected a carriage, but not for Duke Gerald's head butler, Olive, to come himself. The brilliant white and gold carriage seems to glow in the morning light, a spectacle of wealth that leaves the bickering couple speechless. Olive catches her eye, a hint of a charming smile playing on his lips as he repeats her word. "Early?" He glances back at the scene of disarray, his expression calm and assured. "No," he states, his voice smooth and steady. "I believe I arrived right on time." A woman with fiery hair sneers at Marine, her words dripping with scorn as she accuses her of finding a rich old man to solve her money problems. Marine stands silently beside Olive, her expression growing troubled. Olive cuts in, his voice calm yet firm, reminding everyone that this is the Vine's ducal territory. His gaze turns sharp and intimidating as he asks if they received the Duke's permission to build a cabin and rent it out. The man stammers, claiming it was for hunters, but Olive clarifies it was meant to be free. Cornered, the woman lashes out, demanding to know who he is. The woman scoffs, accusing them of using the Duke's name as a threat. With a sharp snap of his fingers, Olive calmly reveals his identity as the butler of the House of Vines. Men in suits appear instantly, and he gives a simple order to take the couple away. The woman's arrogance melts into terror. She falls to her knees, grabbing Olive's leg and then pleading with Marine for help. But Marine's gaze is cold. "No," she says firmly, declaring they deserve to be punished. As they're led away, she wonders when he discovered their scheme. Olive turns to Marine, asking if she's been paying the fraudulent rent all this time. She quietly admits she knew but didn't report it because she couldn't find anywhere else so affordable. Suddenly, her expression hardens, her lime green eyes flashing with cold anger. She states that while she could overlook the scam, she cannot forgive them for harming her mother. Later, in a bright, peaceful garden, Marine politely introduces Olive to an elegant woman. "Hello, I am Marine's mother, Rowena," the woman says with a gentle smile. Olive bows his head respectfully in greeting. An older gentleman watches Marine and her mother, his mind racing. He realizes Duke Gerald must know about her deception, making the Duke's decision to keep her close a perplexing mystery he must solve. After the last of their belongings are loaded, Marine directs her mother to the waiting carriage, explaining she will follow on a borrowed horse. "Please take good care of her," she asks the man. As the carriage departs, Marine turns away from her old home. The wind whips through her blonde hair, and her expression hardens with unwavering resolve. She makes a silent vow to never return. Olive gestures into a magnificent, sun-drenched chamber, welcoming Marine and her mother. He explains this particular room gets the most sunlight, but both women are stunned into silence by its opulence. Marine's mother covers her mouth, whispering in disbelief that such a place could be for her. Olive smiles kindly, adding that the entire third floor is at their disposal. Flustered, the older woman asks how anyone could possibly dislike it. With a gentle smile, Marine happily declares her mother will take this room, and she will stay next door. A door creaks open. A young maid with vibrant red hair wheels a cart laden with tea and pastries into the room. She introduces herself as Yuria, explaining that she has been assigned to serve both Marine and her mother. Marine realizes this is another of Olive's thoughtful arrangements, designed to help her focus on her duties. With a warm smile, Marine introduces herself and her mother, telling Yuria there's no need for formal titles. Flustered by the unexpected kindness, Yuria's cheeks flush. She stammers that she'll prepare their meal and hastily wheels the cart away. As Olive and Yuria depart, leaving behind a spread of delicate pastries, Marine happily encourages her mother to eat. The warm, peaceful moment quickly evaporates as she notices a dark, troubled look cross her mother's face. "What's wrong?" Marine asks, her own appetite vanishing. Her mother admits she was so distracted by the Duke's generosity that she forgot the kind of person he truly is. A cold dread washes over Marine as her mother whispers her fear. What will happen if he discovers their lie? The thought freezes Marine. Her mother is right. Marine's hand clenches the fabric of her shirt. A cold thought washes over her. All this kindness will vanish the moment she is no longer useful. Steeling her nerves, she turns to her mother with a determined expression. "Don't worry," she insists, vowing to be as helpful as possible to the Duke. Elsewhere, two men stand in disbelief, processing the shocking news that Marine's mother was struck. A slow, satisfied smile spreads across Gerald's face as he hears this, his finger resting thoughtfully on his chin. An aide peeks from around a corner, stunned silent by the Duke's unsettling reaction. The aide reels, stunned silent by the Duke's unsettling smile. Back at his desk, Gerald delivers a cold verdict. He orders Olive to confiscate the culprit's assets and sentence them to years of hard labor. As for the woman who struck Marine's mother, he declares they will settle it by making sure she never raises a hand against anyone again. Once alone, the Duke's ruthless composure shatters. He leans back with a heavy sigh as agony crashes over him. His head feels ready to burst, and every small sound becomes a piercing arrow in his ears. The overwhelming sensations leave him desperate and exhausted. The overwhelming agony pushes a dark thought into Gerald's mind. Would it all be easier if he just gave up? But through the suffocating haze, a warm, golden vision of Marine appears, her voice a gentle promise that cuts through the noise. "I'll help you sleep." He clings to her words, a single lifeline in the storm raging inside his head. Leaning back in his chair with a hand pressed to his forehead, he wonders if she can truly succeed where everyone else has failed. She has to, he resolves, before he loses himself completely. Marine Spin stands in a magnificent, sun-drenched library, her lime-green eyes sparkling with pure wonder. A quiet, "wow," escapes her lips as she takes in the towering shelves. The scent of aged books makes her heart pound with a forgotten joy, but she quickly shakes her head, refocusing. This is no time to get lost in daydreams. A fiery determination replaces her awe as she recalls her pay. 1 gold coin, just to help him sleep. With renewed resolve, she turns to the shelves, her mission clear. Find the most boring book possible. Marine's hand bypasses philosophy and history, landing instead on a book about herbalism. A memory flashes through her mind, a scene from the novel she knows. The original heroine had treated the Duke's eyes, using a cure made from a special herb called mandrelsong. Curiosity now burns brighter than her mission for a boring book. She pulls the volume down and carries it to a large wooden table. As she murmurs the name aloud, a deep voice cuts through the library's silence, startlingly close. "Mandrelsong?" Gerald asks. "Why are you looking for that?" Startled, Marine spins around at the sound of a new voice. Her wide, lime-green eyes land on a small, white-haired child standing before her. The child politely asks for her name, and an internal thought flashes through Marine's mind at how adorable she is. "My name is Marine," she answers. The child recognizes the name, saying Olive had mentioned her. Then, she introduces herself with a simple, "I'm Zero." Marine's breath catches. This little girl is Zero? The cold, dignified genius alchemist she read about, and the Duke's friend? The disconnect is staggering. Zero notes how politely Marine speaks, even to a child. Marine quickly explains that as a commoner, it's only natural. With a bright, knowing smile, Zero chirps that she's a terrible liar, leaving Marine completely flustered. Dismissing the topic, the small alchemist hops into a large chair, her feet dangling high above the floor. She returns to the important question, why is Marine looking for mandrill song, a common weed? Marine's eyes widen in shock. Zero explains the plant grows everywhere, even in the Duke's garden. It isn't a true herb, she adds, which is why it wasn't in that book. A stunning possibility begins to dawn on Marine. A stunning realization dawns on Marine. She leans forward, asking if Zero wrote the book on herbs. With a knowing smile, Zero taps the page, confirming, "This is my signature." Marine's admiration overflows. "That's truly incredible." Zero puffs up her chest with pride. "I am quite an impressive person." The sight makes Marine's heart flutter, thinking how adorable it is, until she mentally shakes herself, remembering this genius is a grown man. Refocusing, she asks what kind of plant mandrill song is. In response, Zero hefts a heavy, red-bound book and opens it decisively on the table. Here, Zero points to an illustration in the book, a familiar yellow flower. Marine recognizes it instantly. It looks exactly like the dandelions from her previous life. A flicker of hope sparks within her as she wonders if it can be used as a medicinal herb. Zero explains that besides a refreshing scent, mandrill song has no particular effects. Marine's expression falters slightly. "No effects," she repeats softly. With a serious expression, Zero delivers the twist. "Yes, because it's not a medicinal herb, but a poisonous one." Marine jolts back in shock. "Poisonous?" He clarifies it contains mild toxins that cause stomachaches, which is precisely why it's included in this particular book. The revelation leaves Marine feeling faint. Her companion notices her pale face and asks with concern if she is all right. Waving it off, Marine insists she's fine, but her mind is reeling. Later, she walks alone down a grand, sunlit staircase, her steps slow and deliberate. A heavy thought weighs on her. What should I do? In the original story, the heroine uses that very same poisonous mandrill song to create a cure for the Duke's eyes. A conflict wars within her. Curing him is the heroine's destined role, and she knows she must not interfere. Marine recalls her initial, simple plan. She only wanted to lessen Gerald's pain until the heroine's arrival, using just a tiny bit of the flower. But the thought freezes her. It's poison. Using a toxin on the Duke is a terrifying line to cross. She walks with heavy steps, reminding herself that neutralizing a poison to create a cure is a task for the story's heroine, not her. Her hand clenches the book as she vows to interfere no further. She stops abruptly in the grand, shadowed hall. But still, a deep hesitation remains. A wave of guilt washes over Marine. She thinks of Gerald, a silent apology forming in her heart for pretending not to know the depth of his pain. Standing alone in the sunlit hall, she closes her eyes, her expression tight with regret. She tries to convince herself that everything will be fine even without her. An image of the story's true heroine, radiant with flowing pink hair, flashes in her mind. It is her destiny, Marine reaffirms, to appear at the right time and save the suffering Duke, not hers. In the warm, candlelit room, Marine nervously asks if they can skip for the day, but Gerald is unyielding. "No, you promised me," he insists. Flushing, she clutches a book to her chest, admitting she isn't confident enough yet. A slow, knowing smirk spreads across Gerald's face. "Now, come here," he commands, his voice low as he extends an open hand. Her heart thumps as she reluctantly places her hand in his palm. He teases her for acting like a trained puppy, asking with a playful grin if she wants to be his pet. Flustered, Marine quickly insists that's not what she meant at all. A smirk plays on Gerald's lips as he holds her hand, finding her reactions endlessly interesting. He comments on how slender her wrist still is, and she pulls away, Insisting this is why she wasn't confident. Eager to change the subject, she presents a fairy tale she brought to help him sleep. Gerald finds the idea dreadful, but dryly agrees its boring nature should work perfectly. Slightly annoyed, Maureen takes a breath, opens the book, and begins to read aloud. Maureen's voice fills the room as she reads a fairy tale about a crow and a snake. As Gerald listens, the story fades, and only the sound of her voice remains, small, distinct, and clear, just as he remembers it from another time. A memory pulls him into darkness, a moment of deep distress where he heard her whisper an apology. "I'm sorry," her voice echoes in his mind. A cold sweat breaks on his temple as he relives the moment, lost and wondering what she could have possibly been sorry for. A haze clouds Gerald's mind. Just as he feels himself drifting away, a jolt of panic hits him. "Stop," he commands. Maureen stops reading, startled, just as he lurches forward and pulls her into a sudden embrace. He buries his face against her shoulder, his hands clutching her dress tightly. Heat rushes to Maureen's face, her lime green eyes wide with shock. "Why, Your Grace?" she stammers. Overwhelmed, Gerald wonders what she has done to him, how she could make him feel this way. The only thing that registers is her scent. Gerald breathes in her unique scent, like sunlight and morning dew. He pulls back as Maureen, face flushed and heart pounding, demands to know why he acted that way. He turns from her, his voice calm as he admits he dozed off. Her jaw drops. He clarifies that her voice alone was enough to bring him rest. A wave of pure joy washes over Maureen. She beams, realizing she succeeded. When she eagerly offers to continue reading, Gerald cuts her off. Misunderstanding, she offers to get another book, not seeing the faint smile playing on his lips. "No," Gerald says, his voice low and serious. A shadow seems to cross his face as he explains his fear, that if he truly succumbs to the sleep her voice brings, he might never wake up again. He dismisses her, promising they will continue tomorrow. Still flustered from the intensity of the moment, Maureen simply agrees. Later, she sits across from Olive, looking utterly drained. She explains that the Duke did doze off for a moment, but then resisted falling back asleep. Olive shoots up from his desk, his eyes wide in disbelief. He dozed off. Olive grasps Maureen's hands, his face shining with genuine admiration. "You're truly amazing," he declares. Stunned, Maureen can only stare as his praise sinks in. He explains she did what no one else could, but she quickly protests, waving her hands. She insists she can't accept payment since the Duke didn't fall completely asleep. Olive simply smiles, telling her she is more than deserving as he presents a gleaming gold coin. 1 week later, however, the initial hope has vanished, replaced by sheer frustration. "Why is he avoiding me?" she wonders desperately. Maureen's frustration boils over. She's finished all her work, picked out countless books, and even had time to read herself. But this isn't right. Something has to change. Her heels click decisively as she marches down the long, imposing hallway, her purpose clear. Stopping before his room, she takes a steadying breath. "Your Grace," she calls out, her voice ringing with conviction. She points out that the need for rest is a basic instinct, questioning how he can possibly cope if he continues to fight it off so relentlessly. Maureen's patience finally snaps. Taking a deep breath, she says she didn't want to have to say this, but she can't hold back any longer. She points an accusing finger, her voice steady as she asks him if he's actually scared to fall asleep. Internally, she dismisses him as a coward. Having thrown down the gauntlet, she turns, her footsteps the only sound in the long, dark hallway. The next day, however, her confidence has evaporated. She wanders the annex clutching a book, consumed with worry, wondering if he will ever summon her again. A voice cuts through the quiet hall, making Maureen stop in her tracks. She peeks around a corner to see several maids surrounding a younger girl. One sneers, questioning why she calls Maureen Miss when they're all commoners. The others close in, their faces shadowed with cruel smiles. They whisper that they all know the truth, that Maureen is simply a woman who came to the estate to offer the Duke her nightly comfort. The venomous words hang in the air, and Maureen freezes, her eyes widening in stunned silence. In a dimly lit corridor, 3 maids corner a younger, red-haired maid, their smiles cruel and knowing. They whisper viciously, calling Lady Rowena a woman who trades her affection for coin and claiming her mother was the same. The red-haired maid's hands ball into fists. That's not true. She cries out, defending her lady's honor. Enraged, the lead bully raises her hand to strike, sneering about teaching the orphan a lesson. But before her hand can fall, a hard-covered book slices through the air, slamming squarely into her back. The lead maid cries out and stumbles, whirling around to demand who threw the book. Down the hall stands Marine, her expression like ice as she asks who they think they are laying a hand on. The young red-haired maid, Yuria, whispers her name in shocked relief. Marine beckons her over, but the bully viciously grabs Yuria by the hair, yanking her back. A cold fire ignites in Marine's eyes. "Let go," she commands. Stepping forward, Marine pulls the frightened Yuria behind her, shielding her completely. The bully scoffs. "Who does a woman like you think you are?" The lead maid sneers, claiming the Duke's favor makes Marine think she's special as she rallies her friends, ready to teach a lesson. A panicked Yuria begs Marine to flee, but a fire ignites in Marine's gaze. She refuses to stand down. Raising a heavy book high, her eyes glow like embers as she promises to give them a taste. "Get away," she shouts, striking the bullies with the book. Inspired by her courage, Yuria leaps into the fray to help, earning a proud shout of encouragement from Marine. The lead maid snarls, grabbing a fistful of Marine's hair and shoving her hard to the floor. Marine cries out, telling her to let go, but the maid holds her down, ordering her to stay still. When Yuria rushes forward shouting Marine's name, another maid harshly pushes her aside. The bullies swarm their target, their combined weight pinning Marine down completely. She strains against them, unable to move. Suddenly, a sharp voice echoes down the hall, demanding to know what all the commotion is about. The maids freeze, their triumphant smirks vanishing instantly. The head maid and a butler named Sebastian appear in the doorway, their faces hardening at the scene. Sebastian lets out a horrified gasp, seeing Marine pinned to the floor. In a shocking display of strength, he effortlessly pulls the bullies off and sends them flying. He rushes to Marine's side, frantically helping her up. The head maid fixes her icy glare on Yuria, demanding to know what happened. When Yuria reveals the maids called Marine a foul name, the atmosphere turns frigid. Sebastian's expression darkens, a silent promise of severe consequences. The head maid's voice rings with fury, her words lashing out at the trembling maids. She declares they have tarnished the family's honor by mistreating a guest and will face the consequences without complaint. She then turns to Marine, bowing her head in a sincere apology for her failure to manage the staff. Marine's gaze is steady. She explains that while she might have forgiven personal insults, the words spoken against her mother are unforgivable. As her penalty, she asks that the maids be sent to the garbage dump and that the younger staff be protected from now on. The head maid bows deeply, vowing such a disgrace will never be repeated. As another butler suggests Marine see a physician, a young man with soft brown hair steps into the hall, his eyes wide with concern. A sudden warmth rushes to Marine's cheeks as she greets him, mortified that he would see her in such a state. Unaware of the details, he tells her they must go. "Go where?" she asks, confused. His voice is serious as he delivers the message. "His Grace the Duke has summoned you." The air grows heavy, and Marine's breath catches. The air in Duke Gerald's study is heavy. He stands in the shadows, his head tilted as he asks what happened, his sharp senses picking up a faint metallic scent. Olive explains the maids hurled a grave insult at Marine, questioning her virtue. A dangerous stillness falls over the room as Gerald gives a chilling command to his aide: silence them permanently. Marine immediately objects, insisting she has already handled the matter herself. Gerald calls her punishment merciful, a faint smile touching his lips. "So," he asks, his voice low, "did you win this time as well?" A flash of a past confrontation floods Marine's mind. He knows. Gerald presses again, asking if she won. Looking away, she quietly confirms that she didn't lose. A smirk plays on his lips as he remarks he's brought quite a brawler into his castle. He tells her he doesn't even need to see to know she's a complete mess. Her denial is weak as the sound of his footsteps draws nearer. "Lying to me just because I can't see?" he murmurs, his voice dangerously close. His hand suddenly closes around her wrist, sending a jolt through her. Marine's cheeks flush as she stammers an apology, the warmth from his hand sending a jolt up her arm. Gerald ignores her words, his focus shifting to her tattered sleeve. He declares he'll take responsibility, ordering Olive to summon a dressmaker at once. Though Maureen insists she can mend it, Gerald dismisses her protest. The air grows thick with unspoken meaning as he leans closer, his voice a low murmur. He tells her not to refuse his gift, but warns her not to misunderstand its meaning, leaving her utterly bewildered. And that wraps up this part. If you watch till the end, you're a legend, and I truly appreciate you. These videos take late nights, focus, and passion to create, so knowing you're here makes it all worth it. If you enjoyed the ride, love the drama, or just live for epic manhwa like I do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell because the next dark twist, it's coming faster than you think.